Colosseum is emptying. Blood stains the sand. 50,000 spectators shuffle toward the exits, still buzzing about the day's carnage. But for the gladiators who survived, the real violence is just beginning. In 183 CE, a woman's body was discovered in the gladiator barracks beneath the arena. Her bones tell a story that Roman historians deliberately erased. And what I'm about to reveal will change how you see every gladiator movie ever made. Because Hollywood sold you a lie. The glory of Rome had a nightmare hiding in its shadow, a systematic reward program that turned human beings into trophies. And it all started with one emperor's twisted idea of motivation. Here's what you're about to discover. First, the formalized system that gave gladiators access to women as prizes for victory. Second, the archaeological evidence proving these weren't celebrations, but organized brutality. And third, the one woman who sparked a rebellion that nearly shut down the entire gladiator system. Her name was Secunda, and Hollywood has never told her story. If you're ready for history without the sanitization, hit that subscribe button right now. Because YouTube's algorithm actively suppresses content this dark, and I need your help to make sure this story gets told. Let's go back to the beginning. Picture Rome at its height. The 2nd century CE, the empire stretches from Britain to Syria, and at its heart, gladiators are the ultimate celebrities, part athlete, part warrior, part sex symbol. We know this because of graffiti, not the kind you see on highway overpasses. I'm talking about ancient Romans scratching messages into brothel walls. Celadus the Thracian makes the girls swoon, Crescens the netter of young girls by night. These aren't just boasts, they're advertisements. But here's what nobody tells you. This celebrity status came with benefits that went far beyond fame. Watch this. These red markers show every major ludus. That's a gladiator training facility in the city of Rome. Now I'm adding the locations of registered brothels in blue. Notice something. They're right next to each other every single time. This wasn't coincidence. This was infrastructure, because Roman society built an entire system around a simple transaction. You win in the arena, you get rewarded after dark, and the women involved, they had no say in the matter. We are talking about enslaved women who worked in the gladiator barracks, sex workers who were contracted out. And even, and this part will shock you, patrician women from wealthy families who sought the thrill, only to discover they couldn't leave when they wanted to. Now you might be wondering, how do we know this? Where's the proof? I'm going to show you exact sources, archaeological sites, legal documents, eyewitness accounts that historians have been reluctant to discuss in public. And it all started with one emperor who turned depravity into official policy. His name was Commodus, and what he did changed everything. The year is 180 CE. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, is dead. His son Commodus takes the throne, and one of his first acts is to expand the gladiatorial games to unprecedented levels. But Commodus doesn't just want more fights. He wants more motivated fighters. The Roman historian Cassius Dio writes in Book 73 of his Roman history about Commodus's innovations in the arena, but he uses careful language, coded language. He talks about incentives beyond prize money and rewards that appealed to base instincts. Here's what he meant. Commodus formalized what had been an informal practice. Lanistae, the men who owned and trained gladiators, were now explicitly authorized to offer women as victory prizes, not metaphorically, literally, win your fight. You get first pick from the enslaved women who cooked, cleaned, and maintained the ludus. Kill your opponent in spectacular fashion. The Lannister might rent professional sex workers for the night. Become a champion. You got extended privileges that lasted days. Now you might be thinking, but didn't some women want this? Weren't gladiators considered attractive? That's exactly what Roman propagandists wanted you to believe. Let me show you what happened when someone said no. This is a photograph from the 1990 excavation of the gladiator barracks in Pompeii, the city frozen by Vesuvius in 79 CE. See this skeleton. Female, approximately 18 to 22 years old based on bone development. And look at the fracture patterns on her right arm. Defensive wounds. Her radius snapped when she raised her arm to protect her face. Her skull shows blunt force trauma from behind. The archaeologists found her in a storage room, not the slave quarters, like she was trying to hide. The official report called it death during the eruption, but the bone trauma happened days before Vesuvius exploded. There's calcification that proves healing had started. Someone beat her, someone she couldn't refuse. And then someone hid her body where they thought no one would look. And that's just one body we found by accident. Because in 2007, ground-penetrating radar revealed something at the Capua Ludus, the largest gladiator training facility in Italy. A mass burial site beneath the barracks. 37 bodies, 16 of them women, but don't click away yet. Because what happened inside those barracks after dark makes this look merciful. And the archaeological evidence we uncovered in 2014 proves it was all ritualized. Imagine you're an enslaved woman in the Ludus. The sun has set, the crowds have gone home, but your work is just beginning. The philosopher Seneca, who lived through this era, writes in his moral letters, letter 7, "I returned from the games with my morals crushed, but what I witnessed after, in the privacy of the Ludus, this I dare not commit fully to writing." He dare not write about it. What could make a Stoic philosopher, a man who described brutal executions in detail, too disturbed to document something? In 2014, Austrian archaeologists excavating the Ludus at Carnuntum made a discovery that answered Seneca's silence. They uncovered a room that wasn't in the architectural plans, hidden behind false walls, and what they found inside tells a story that no ancient text ever. Shattered wine amphorae, dozens of them, showing repeated use over years. Iron restraints bolted to the walls at waist and ankle height, and objects that the excavation team initially catalogued as unknown implements until forensic analysis revealed their purpose. Dr. Franz Humer, lead archaeologist, stated, "This was not living quarters, this was not storage." The wear patterns, the spatial arrangement, the artifacts together paint a picture of systematic, repeated, organized activity that we can only categorize as ritualized assault. Ritualized, that's the key word. This wasn't chaos, this was tradition. Now here's where it gets even darker. The women caught in this system fell into 3 categories. Category 1, enslaved women who belonged to the Ludus itself. Cooks, cleaners, laundry workers, they had zero legal personhood. Under Roman law, they couldn't refuse anything. Category 2, contracted sex workers from nearby brothels. At least they got paid, right? Wrong. The contracts, we have fragments of these, specified that payment went to their owners, not them. And refusal meant breach of contract, which meant punishment. But Category 3 will shock you. Patrician women. Wealthy Roman women who sought out gladiators for the thrill and danger. The excitement of slumming with violent men. But here's the nightmare. Once inside the Ludus, their social status meant nothing. Multiple legal cases exist of noble women trying to prosecute gladiators for assault and losing because they voluntarily entered the barracks. Roman law saw it as consent to whatever happened next. But in 167 CE, one case went too far. One woman died. And for the first time in Roman history, someone actually went to trial. The victim, a Lannister's daughter named Flavia. The accused, Rome's most beloved champion. The verdict will make you understand exactly what Rome valued. I know this is heavy. If you're still here, you're clearly someone who wants history's unfiltered truth. Make sure you're subscribed, because next week I'm revealing what Viking raiders actually did with captives, and it's somehow even worse than the shows depict. Now back to 167 CE. The trial of Marcus Attilius should have changed Roman history. It didn't. But what happened tells you everything about what Rome truly valued. Here are the facts, preserved in the Digest of Justinian, a collection of Roman legal cases compiled in the 6th century but documenting earlier trials. The victim, Flavia Publicia, age 19, daughter of Gaius Publicius, Lannister of the Ludus Magnus in Rome. The crime, found dead in the gladiator quarters morning after a victory celebration. The accused, Marcus Attilius, Thracian-class gladiator, undefeated champion, crowd favorite. The physicians report, yes, Romans did forensic examinations, documented strangulation, defensive wounds on her forearms, evidence of violent assault before death. Open and shut case, right. Attilius's defense was 3 words, right of reward. He claimed that as a champion gladiator, he had customary access to the Ludus grounds after victories, that Flavia was present in the barracks, that therefore her presence constituted implied availability. Now here's what nobody tells you about this case. Flavia wasn't enslaved. She wasn't a sex worker. She was a free Roman citizen. and her father owned the gladiator who killed her. If any case should have resulted in execution, it was this one. The verdict came down after 3 days of deliberation. Marcus Attilius was found guilty. His sentence: compensation payment to Gaius Publicius for destruction of property value, not murder, property damage. Because the court ruled that Gaius had lost economic value in 2 ways, his daughter, who could have been married off advantageously, and his champion gladiator, whose reputation was now damaged, Attilius paid 15,000 sesterces, about 2 years' salary for a skilled craftsman. Then he went back to fighting. The Pompeii graffiti shows he remained popular. Attilius, slayer of men and women alike, written as a boast. But don't click away yet, because the verdict reveals Rome's true values. A free Roman woman was worth exactly 15,000 sesterces, a gladiator's earning potential, priceless. And yet, this case sparked something Rome never expected. Because 2 years later, in 169 CE, in the Capua Ludus, the oldest gladiator school in the empire, the women decided they'd had enough. What happened next nearly shut down the entire gladiator system, and history tried to bury it. March 13, 169 CE. The Capua Ludus, the same facility that once trained Spartacus, wakes to an unprecedented sight. The kitchen is empty, the laundry is abandoned, the bath attendants are gone. Every woman who worked in the Ludus has disappeared. They haven't fled, they've barricaded themselves in the grain storage building, and they've made demands. This inscription, fragmented, deliberately damaged, barely readable, preserves their words. Translation: we, the women of the Ludus, refuse service until contracts guarantee our protection from and oversight by. The rest is destroyed, but we can fill in the gaps. The Historia Augusta, a collection of imperial biographies, mentions troubles at the Capua Ludus in the 9th year of Marcus Aurelius's reign. It's one sentence, one single sentence, but here's what we can reconstruct from multiple sources. Day 1, women refuse to work. Lannister sends gladiators to forcibly remove them. The women have blockaded the doors. Standoff begins. Day 2, word spreads to Rome. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor who wrote about Stoic virtue, is briefed. He sends a representative to negotiate. Day 3, the women present formal demands, written contracts, protection from assault, third-party oversight, the right to appeal to authorities outside the Ludus system. Now here's where it gets complicated, because Marcus Aurelius was genuinely conflicted. In his Meditations, Book 11, written around this time, he writes, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly, but I have seen the beauty and goodness in their souls." Was he writing about the revolt? We can't know for certain, but the timing is exact. Marcus Aurelius issued an unprecedented decree, not what the women asked for, but something. Lannister now required to register all staff with local authorities. A magistrate would conduct annual inspections. Women could file complaints with the aediles, local officials, without permission from the Lannister. Minimal reforms, but reforms nonetheless. But here's the cost. The revolt's 3 leaders were executed as examples.